In ancient Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a civilization emerged that would forever change how humanity looks at the sky. The Babylonians gazed upward not for entertainment, but for survival. They believed the gods spoke through the stars, sending messages about floods, wars, and the fate of kings. But here's what most people don't know. The zodiac wasn't created for personal horoscopes. It was a tool of political power, a calendar system, and a map of divine will carved into the cosmos itself. Around 1800 BCE, Babylonian priests began dividing the sky into 12 sections, each marked by a constellation that the sun appeared to pass through during the year. These weren't just random groupings of stars. Each section represented a month, a season, and a specific set of omens. Aries marked the spring equinox, the beginning of the agricultural year, when lambs were born and wars typically began. Taurus represented the strength needed for plowing fields. Gemini symbolized the duality of the seasons changing. The zodiac was astronomy, agriculture, religion, and statcraft all woven together. But the Babylonians never intended for individuals to have zodiac signs. Their astrology was reserved for the elite. Only kings and high priests received celestial readings. The stars predicted droughts, invasions, and the health of rulers, not whether you'd find love next Tuesday. Personal astrology, the kind we know today, didn't exist yet. That innovation would come much later, from the Greeks, who borrowed Babylonian astronomy and transformed it into something radically different. The zodiac traveled along trade routes, reaching Egypt, Persia, and eventually Greece. Around the 4th century BCE, Greek astronomers like Ptolemy began to personalize it. They asked a revolutionary question: if the stars influence kingdoms, why wouldn't they influence individuals? Birth charts emerged. The exact position of planets at the moment of birth supposedly determined personality, fate, and fortune. The zodiac shifted from a tool of empire to a mirror of the self. The Greeks added layers of meaning. They connected zodiac signs to the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius became fire signs, representing passion and energy. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn were earth signs, symbolizing stability and materialism. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius embodied air, the realm of thought and communication. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces were water, representing emotion and intuition. These weren't arbitrary. They reflected Greek philosophy about the fundamental nature of reality. Roman emperors embraced astrology obsessively. Some refused to make military decisions without consulting their astrologers. Emperor Tiberius even had astrologers thrown off cliffs if their predictions failed, yet he still couldn't stop consulting them. The zodiac had become a psychological necessity, a way to impose order on an unpredictable world. It wasn't just belief, it was a coping mechanism for uncertainty. Then Christianity arrived and complicated everything. The early church condemned astrology as pagan superstition, yet the zodiac survived. It went underground, preserved by Islamic scholars during the Middle Ages while Europe burned books. Arabic astronomers refined Babylonian calculations, creating more accurate star charts. They kept the knowledge alive, eventually reintroducing it to Europe during the Renaissance. Without Islamic scholarship, Western astrology might have vanished entirely. Medieval Europe saw the zodiac everywhere. Cathedrals featured zodiac symbols in their architecture. Medical texts prescribed treatments based on astrological signs. Doctors believed that bloodletting should only occur during specific lunar phases and zodiac periods. If you were born under Aries, which governed the head, you were supposedly more prone to headaches. Scorpio ruled the reproductive organs. Pisces controlled the feet. This wasn't fringe belief. It was mainstream medical practice for centuries. The scientific revolution should have killed astrology, but it didn't. Even as Copernicus and Galileo proved that Earth wasn't the center of the universe, people clung to their birth charts. Why? Because the zodiac wasn't really about astronomy anymore. It had become a language for discussing personality, relationships, and identity. The constellations themselves were almost irrelevant. What mattered was the archetypal meaning humans had projected onto them. Here's something almost no one realizes: the zodiac signs don't align with the actual constellations anymore. Due to a phenomenon called precession, Earth's axis slowly wobbles over thousands of years. This means the sun's position relative to the constellations has shifted significantly since Babylonian times. If you were born when the sun was supposedly in Virgo, astronomically it was probably in Leo. Modern astrology ignores this completely, using the original Babylonian divisions rather than current astronomical reality. This doesn't bother most astrologers because they see the zodiac as symbolic, not literal. Some astronomers argue there should actually be 13 zodiac signs, not 12. The sun passes through Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, between Scorpio and Sagittarius. The Babylonians knew about it but deliberately left it out to create a tidy 12-month system. Imagine if your entire astrological identity shifted because someone decided to exclude a constellation for mathematical convenience. That's essentially what happened. Psychology offers a compelling explanation for why the zodiac feels so accurate. It's called the Barnum effect, named after showman P.T. Barnum. People tend to accept vague, general personality descriptions as uniquely applicable to themselves. Phrases like "you have a need for others to like you" or "you have considerable unused capacity" apply to almost everyone, but when framed as astrological insight, they feel personal and profound. The zodiac works because human brains are pattern-seeking machines desperately trying to understand themselves. Yet there's something deeper happening. The zodiac provides a shared vocabulary for psychological experiences that are genuinely difficult to articulate. When someone says they're a Scorpio, they're communicating something about intensity, secrecy, and transformation that would take paragraphs to explain otherwise. The zodiac functions as a shorthand for complex emotional states and personality traits. It's not that the stars are actually influencing behavior. It's that humans have created a useful symbolic system and collectively agreed to use it. The Babylonians invented the zodiac to understand the will of gods and the rhythms of nature. Over millennia, it transformed into something entirely different: a tool for self-reflection, a conversation starter, a way to feel connected to something larger than individual existence. The zodiac endures not because it's scientifically valid, but because it fulfills a psychological need that facts alone cannot satisfy. It offers meaning, identity, and the comforting illusion that the universe might actually care about us. So when you read your horoscope or identify with your sign, you're participating in a tradition that stretches back nearly 4,000 years to priests watching the night sky above ancient Mesopotamia. They were trying to predict the future of kingdoms. You're trying to understand yourself. Different goals, same human impulse, the desperate hope that the chaos above might somehow explain the chaos within.